Hey everybody, and welcome to the UFC Fight Night Blades versus Dos Santos dissection. And before we get into breaking this main card down, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of fight announcements, just a lot of news floating around that I want to get to, right? One of the first things I want to talk about is Conor McGregor's coach, John Kavanagh, on Ariel Helwani show, saying that he would like to see Conor McGregor fight Justin Gaethje at 170 pounds. Now, there's been a lot of debate about whether that fight makes sense, and if I'm Conor's coach, it does. And here's why, right? Here, a couple reasons, a couple things I think that you're looking at. So first off, you have to think that Conor has already fought at 170 pounds, right? So he's used to that weight class, and he's used to what his body feels like on fight night. So, and there's something to carrying around extra weight on fight night. Like you saw it the first time Conor fought Nate at 170, and then he looked better when he fought him again, and then he looked brilliant when he just fought Cowboy, right? Got a little more muscle mass, but I think that can be detrimental to a fighter who has never done it before, right? Like you kind of saw when Max Holloway moved up and fought Dustin Poirier at lightweight. Poirier had a little more pop on his punches, but now if Holloway got conditioned for 155, I think he would look better there. But there's something to fighting at that weight class and knowing what it feels like to carry that extra body weight around. Now, you can't discount the fact that it might give advantages to Gaethje. Gaethje has already proven that he has knockout power. He's a great wrestler, so his top pressure might feel a lot heavier, and he might have more power in his hands, right? So you got a couple things playing here, but on paper, if you're Conor's coach, it makes sense to make Justin come up to 170 because Conor's fought there before. Not saying that it's necessary. I mean, like I said, it's a double-edged sword, right? Like Justin might have an advantage actually, but on paper, it kind of makes sense to make Justin fight 15 pounds heavier than he's used to because the majority of his career he's fought at lightweight, right? Okay, so that would be the first thing I'm looking at. And the second thing is if you beat the number one contender in the lightweight division at welterweight, I'm not saying this is fair. I'm just telling you how it fucking works, right? Let's there's a bunch of hypotheticals that we're going to throw out here, but let's say that Khabib and Tony Ferguson fight in April and Tony Ferguson comes out on top, which, by the way, people talking about, oh, the Khabib-Conor rematch is huge, blah. It is huge if Khabib beats Tony. Khabib has to beat Tony in order for this to be more viable. If Tony Ferguson goes in and beats Khabib, he's been exposed in a way, and the aura, that invincibleness that surrounds him kind of drops a little bit, right? And the fight's not as big. So if you're Kavanagh, you're thinking, okay, Tony Ferguson has a legit chance to beat Khabib. Let's say that happens. If we make Conor fight the number one contender in the lightweight division, he has a claim at the lightweight title, but you've also got Jorge Masvidal and Kamaru Usman likely fighting for the welterweight belt in the meantime, right? And say what you want about Kamaru Usman's wrestling and Kamaru Usman being a big guy, but I think Jorge Masvidal can beat anyone on any given night. And there's already beef between Conor and Jorge. It's well known that Jorge wants to fight. The only thing bigger than booking Conor McGregor versus Jorge Masvidal right now is booking Conor McGregor versus Jorge Masvidal if Jorge Masvidal beats Kamaru Usman for the welterweight title. Now you're talking about a promotion that you can push with two guys with incredible highlight reels, two guys who are going to shit talk, two guys who are going to stand and bang, and it's going to be Conor's chance at a third world title. I mean, come on. It makes sense. And I'm not saying it's fair, and I know there are guys in that division who are more deserving of the welterweight title. But I'm telling you, if Conor beats Justin Gaethje at 170, you get the claim that he's been fighting at the weight class, he's been knocking off contenders, and it lets him go either way, right? Let's say Kamaru Usman beats Jorge Masvidal and Khabib beats Tony. Well, Conor's just going to take the best option and go fight Khabib. But I'm telling you, man, Jorge Masvidal has a legit chance to beat Kamaru Usman. And Kamaru Usman has a very good chance to beat Jorge. I'm just talking, like I said, hypotheticals here. Anything can happen. It's fighting, right? If Jorge Masvidal upsets Kamaru Usman and steals the welterweight title from him, and Conor beats Justin Gaethje at 170, Conor's going to fight for the belt against Jorge Masvidal. That's what I would be thinking, at least. I mean, that's the way I'm interpreting this whole thing. It's just a way to give Conor more avenues. You're killing two birds with one stone. You're knocking out the number one lightweight contender in the world right now, in my opinion at least, and you're beating him at a weight class that gives you a little bit of flexibility. You can claim that you've been fighting there, right? And it's Conor McGregor, so he gets what he wants. That's what I think's going on here. I think that you make Conor fight Justin Gaethje and see what plays out with the title at welterweight and lightweight, and then you take the best option. Because let's just be honest, if Tony Ferguson beats Khabib, which is possible, Conor versus Tony just isn't as big of a fight as Conor versus Jorge, right? And I mean, if Kamaru and Tony both win, he's going to have his option of what one he wants to take. And I'm guessing he would take Tony in that situation just because he wants the lightweight belt, right? And I think Kamaru Usman is just a tougher fight because he's a big fucking dude and he can wrestle his ass off. But if I'm Kavanagh and I'm looking at the landscape and I'm looking at everything going on, you're erasing all the doubt by beating not that Conor's going to beat Justin, by the way. Justin is a motherfucker. I'm just saying you're setting Conor up for success either way. It's an intelligent move in my opinion. All right, I just recorded this whole fucking thing, and the whole time I felt like I was forgetting something, and I definitely was. On the prelims, there's a kid named Montel Jackson fighting, and he's one of the most talented kids in the bantamweight division. He's, ton of potential. He's a real up-and-comer. He's dangerous everywhere, and he was kind enough to record a podcast with me a while back. If you guys go back in the archives and stuff and look for episode 13, it's titled Montel Jackson UFC Bantamweight, the name of the podcast. Go ahead and check that out if you guys want to hear a really interesting interview from him. We did it over Skype, so it's a little bit spotty at times. That's my fault. But he had some really interesting stuff to say about his time in Thailand and his volunteer work helping kids in like wrestling programs, et cetera, right? And he was a really, really nice fucking guy. And he talked to me for a while. We did like I think it was like 45 minutes maybe or something like that. So it was awesome to get a chance to speak with him. And like I said, he's one of the most promising prospects at 135 pounds, and he's fighting on the prelims on ESPN+. So please make sure to check him out and give the podcast a listen if you guys are interested. Thank you.